All right, it looks like a critical mass is here. Welcome, everybody. I'm Abby Winslow, Assistant Director of Operations at the Sci Center for Innovative Thinking, or as we like to call it, Sci-City, and I'll be your host this evening. But before I get started, I'd like to bring Cassie Tucker up on stage with me for a few opening remarks. Cassie is Managing Director at Sci-City and has been one of the Summer Fellows' biggest fans since our center opened. Cassie, take it away.
Thanks, Abby. Audience, we're so excited to have you joining us today for Demo Day. Demo Day is the culminating event of our annual Summer Fellowship Program, a multi-week full-time accelerator to incubate new companies, nonprofits, and initiatives here at Yale. The fellowship includes a $15,000 grant, along with workshops, sprints, mentorship, coaching, and pitch opportunities for all of our teams. Today is a celebration and a demonstration of all the incredible hard work and progress our summer fellows have achieved. So prepare to be wowed. Before we get to the pitches, I want to take this moment and acknowledge where we are, even in a virtual environment, and honor those who occupied the lands before us. We acknowledge that Indigenous peoples and nations, including the Mohegan, Mashantucket Pequot, Eastern Pequot, Schaghticoke, Golden Hill Paugussett, the Antic, the Quinnipiac, and other Algonquian-speaking peoples have stewarded through generations the lands and waterways of what is now the state of Connecticut. We honor and respect the enduring relationships that exist between these peoples and nations and this land. A big thank you to the Summer Fellows who you're about to hear from, who without a doubt are going to make a great impact on this world. A big thank you to the Sci-City team who is running the fellowship and making all the magic happen behind the scenes. And a big thank you to our mentors in the greater entrepreneurial community here at Yale who have supported and will continue to support all of these fellows throughout their journey.
Thank you so much, Cassie. All right, so a little bit of information about how tonight's event is going to go. Each team or founder will have 5 minutes to pitch. After we've heard the pitch, the audience will have an opportunity to submit questions, and founders have the choice to respond to those questions using the Q&A function in Zoom. If you're not sure how to use the Q&A function, hover over the bottom of the Zoom screen and you should see a Q&A button where you can submit questions. Just be sure to identify which team your question is for in case it's not obvious. But that's not all. If you want to connect with any of the founders you hear from tonight, a link to a Google form is going to be sent out in the chat to attendees momentarily. In that form, you can select who you want to connect with and how, plus your email. We'll share your email and your question with the team. Alexis, can you send that form out now in the attendee chat? All right, so that link to that form is coming your way. And now we're ready for our first team to pitch. So, Auraline, get on deck. Auraline combines the most common skincare needs with the best natural ingredient alternatives to create safe products good for skin and health. Take it away, Auraline.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allie, and I'm the co-founder of Auraline Skincare. And I started Auraline with my parents for both PhD chemists as I was looking for a more natural and sustainable solution for my skincare. And at Auraline, we are driven by 3 main pillars. We believe that a simplified routine made with the best formulations, all active ingredients, no fillers or any chemicals is going to work best to fit into our customers' daily lives. We're also very focused on sustainability and formulating with less resource-intensive, waterless products that are highly effective and are able to help our customers achieve better skin. And I'd love to show you the team that we have assembled. So recently I graduated from Yale MBA and previously worked in investment banking at JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank. And my parents are chemists and they worked in pharmaceutical R&D and also in the materials science space. And we're joined by a great team from Yale and Wharton, advised by Professor Tristan Botello of Yale and Justin Silver a skincare founder at Ronnie, and also early investor in Tatcha. As far as our products, initially we started with skincare. Our hero product is the Volcanic Clay Cleansing Bar. And this is an easier, more efficient, and mess-free way to use Aztec Secret Indian Healing Clay, which is the #1 Amazon bestseller in beauty. We've since expanded to home goods in light of the pandemic, such as a line of diatomaceous stone bath goods. They are very fast drying, also antimicrobial. And this past summer, we have also been formulating a anti-pollution cleansing balm made free of any PEG, also a hair growth shampoo bar in lieu of, in light of COVID-related hair loss. And as far as our reviews, we've received rave reviews from customers as well as influencers. And I can share some highlights today. And we've never paid for any of our reviews, and our users have said that it's helped them reduce their blemishes, it's brightened their skin, has also made somebody's Sahara Desert dry skin more moisturized. And since our launch, we've been very fortunate to have the support of so many entrepreneurship resources at Yale, such as accelerators, fellowships. Recently, we came in first place at the Yale Tuna Tank. We were a brand sponsor of the Yale Business of Legal Cannabis Conference, and also a case study subject in 2 MBA classes. And in terms of press, this summer, our Volcanic Clay Bar was featured in British Vogue Say Hello to the Glow in June. We've also been working on display ads and video ads with Verishop. And in terms of retail, you can check us out on Verishop. This is a luxury millennial retailer. It's founded by the former chief strategy officer of Snapchat. We're also preparing to launch on Amazon and host a fall pop-up at Rue St. Paul, a Cobble Hill, Brooklyn-based fashion retailer. And lastly, on the wholesale side, so recently we received an order for 8,000 units from Bespoke Post, which Forbes magazine rated as the best men's subscription kit. Also have an introduction coming up to Ulta through Indie Beauty's wholesaler program. To wrap things up, please check us out on Verishop and feel free to contact us on Instagram or send me an email to get in touch. Thanks, and I'll open it up for questions now.
Thank you, Allie. That was an excellent pitch. All right, next up on deck is Balma. Balma seeks to develop innovative do-it-yourself public health education to help children understand their own diagnoses or others' diagnoses in an empowering manner and to facilitate a healthy conversation between parents and guardians and children, all while sparking scientific curiosity. Take it away, Balma.
I think she has to.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Sophia, and I'll be presenting today alongside my co-founder and brother, Nicholas. Together, we are Balma Health, a company that seeks to transform the way children and families understand health diagnoses. First, I'd like you to meet Diana. Diana is a lovely 5-year-old girl who was recently diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Upon receiving her diagnosis, Diana and her family received an overwhelming amount of verbal and written communication for use both in the healthcare setting and to take home. Diana and her family were incredibly overwhelmed by the amount of this information, and they were left feeling very anxious and confused. With only 12% of the US population being proficient in healthcare literacy and US youth severely lacking any form of healthcare literacy, this unfortunately isn't an experience that is unique to Diana, but rather one that is experienced by more than 15 million kids in the US. The next piece of the puzzle is how do parents with chronic disease explain their diagnosis to their child? This is a worry held by James, a man recently diagnosed with prostate cancer at the age of 45, with 2 young children who he's left worrying about how do I best explain this to my child without making them more fearful or confused. This is also a shared worry among more than 100 million Americans with chronic disease. Children need clear and empowering health communication, and without it, they're left with incredibly high risks for their patient healthcare outcomes. In fact, a lack of clear and empowering health communication damages their health in 3 key ways. It leaves them having a weaker adherence to treatment and recommendations, lower patient healthcare satisfaction, and also poor child and family mental health. At Balma Health, we envision a world where children and families aren't leaving hospital rooms feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or confused, but rather assured and empowered. We hope that with our developmentally appropriate and interactive hands-on disease models that are crafted with advice from expert child education specialists, psychologists, and health professionals, that such a vision can indeed be achieved. Now, you might be asking yourself, why interactive health education? Why this model as opposed to the traditional forms of verbal and written communication we see in the healthcare space today? Now, this is because an interactive model that a children builds themselves actually engages them in a really powerful psychological concept that's known as autonomous learning. This is associated with improvement in self-efficacy and self-confidence, while also decreasing anxiety and fear, and all while facilitating difficult conversations about health. These benefits can be seen in our COVID-19 lung model kit, which was a huge success with over 600 orders in less than 4 months with no paid advertising and interest from various health and education stakeholders. Upon closer look, we can see that 100% of respondents reported the kit met and exceeded their expectations. 100% of respondents reported the kit facilitated conversation, and 93% reported empowerment, with the remaining 7% reporting that they were not fearful of COVID in the first place.
Looking at our target market, we're hoping to cater to buyers such as hospitals, child life centers, and nonprofit agencies, so these kits can be used in conjunction with a healthcare professional in the healthcare setting during the diagnostic stage. We hope this provides the best ease of access while also reducing any post-treatment or post-diagnostic obstacles that already are very present in such situations. Look at competitors. There are a few indirect competitors such as Anatomy Warehouse and a few others, but these are truly out of scope with our mission and provide products that are far beyond the level of a child, usually catering to medical students or students looking to learn about anatomy. Thus, there are truly no competitors in our space. Lastly, our competitive advantage presents a unique autonomous learning model that lets the child understand the whys and hows instead of an exhaustive list of symptoms and otherwise scary things that truly just kind of adds to their stress. Further, the customizable and reusable aspects of our kit, we hope will provide a aspect of fun and kind of reduce fears while also letting them use them in different settings such as family, homes, or schools. Additionally, the affordable price range, we hope to target around $10 to $20 as opposed to the thousands or hundreds of dollars that are usually present in the other kits. Meeting the team, me and Sophia are 2 undergraduate students with a lot of research experience in healthcare disparities and healthcare education, as well as heavy volunteering and teaching and a lot of experience in the space. And we are supported by an ever-growing group of professionals in the space, including psychologists, child healthcare specialists, and child education specialists. Looking towards the future, we have already created the COVID-19 kit, and we hope to continue creating many more kits for ever-present diseases such as asthma and ADHD, which are huge problems in primary schooling, as well as the demographic we hope to target. So thank you so much for your time, and please contact us for feedback, questions, or as we continue to develop strategic partnerships for manufacturing and the healthcare space. Thank you.
Well done, Balma. And I just want to remind the audience that that Q&A function is live. So far we've heard from Auraline Skincare and Balma Health. Submit any questions that you may have for them. I see Guanan from Control Trial is ready to go. So Guanan, why don't you take it away? Gwen, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm Guanan, and founder and CEO of Control Trial. Also, I'm a data scientist and a software engineer. Analyzing healthcare data and generating insight to benefit patients was my passion and my specialty for over 10 years. 6 years ago, when I was still working in Epic, one of the largest EHR vendors in the US, I was leading a small development team called Research Informatics. And that was when I learned the most clinical trial was struggle to recruit enough patients. While the patients were also having hard time to find and understand the best clinical trial for their conditions. Since then, I was wondering, how could I help? And I took that question to Yale when I started my PhD research 3 years ago. At Yale, I have the great opportunity to work with the top clinicians and researchers in the world. And I asked my advisor, colleagues, and doctor friends, what is the right solution? They told me the best timing to recruit patients is when they are in the doctor's office. If we can accurately pre-screening patients for clinical trials and provide a short list of patients to the clinical team to confirm their eligibility in real time and prior their visit, then the clinical team could contact the physician who are seeing the patients and join them to speak to the patients about available clinical trials and recruit them more efficiently. And here comes Control Trial. Our software analyzes clinical trial eligibility data and real-time patient data using AI and natural language processing technology to extract tens of thousands new clinical data points, turning fragmented medical documents into unified patient graph that contains all the information needed to match complex clinical trial criteria. It does not only improve the speed and efficiency, but also the accuracy of patient matching. Our software stays within the healthcare systems network. Its HIPAA compliance and access will also be controlled by IRB review for particular clinical trials. Here's a screenshot of our working prototype. After submitting the clinical trial eligibility to the system, a short list of potential match patients will firstly fall under identified buckets based on the screening schedule. After the research team open the patient chart and confirm the highlight information, they can reach out to the patient and move them to the next step of the recruiting process. Straightforward. We are very excited to share some preliminary benchmarking results from our current pilot project with Yale Smilow Cancer Center. Compared to the manual patient recruitment workflow, our system screened 40 times broader populations, identify 85% more candidates. We saw an 18-fold increase in efficiency and 94.5% accuracy matching patients. As an early startup, Control Trial started January 2020, recently incorporated, has already received several recognitions in very short time. After finishing our current pilot, Smilow Cancer Center encouraged us to quickly implement our software within Yale to benefit the community. This September, we will submit our SBIR Phase 1 application. Also, we are currently raising our seed round to support our software development. There's a global market of $5.6 billion for patient recruitment every year, $1.8 billion for the US. We chose oncology patient identification for clinical trial as our beachhead market, as 40% of clinical trials are cancer-related, and our current collaboration with Yale Cancer Center. We did a bottom-up calculation, and the size is around 70 million per year in the US. We split current patient recruitment service vendors in 3 buckets: research hospital-facing, patient-facing, and pharma-facing. Remember, the best timing to educate and recruit patients is when the patients are in the doctor's office. Therefore, we believe our service to the research hospital will have the best outcome. Compared to other vendors in our bucket, Control Trial focus on clinical trial patient recruitment, providing real-time, flexible, and lightweight and affordable solutions. We seamlessly integrate with the current clinical workflow and can scale up to cover multiple disease area and sites with reusable matching models trained from large-scale real-time healthcare dataset in common data model. To scale up our business, our current service include initial consultation to healthcare organization to help them identify the gaps in the current workflow, and software service to integrate into their system. Next stage, after establishing the partnership, we'll develop new services to healthcare system together for sponsors, such as clinical trial design, and we'll share the revenue. Further, with more sponsors on board, we will expand our services to their other sites. Now, think about it. At this moment, there is a cancer patient waiting to find the right clinical trial, and we can help. Thank you very much for listening. Control Trial, right patient, right trial, right now.
Well done. Excuse me. Well done, Control Trial. All right. Up next is Bo Yi Foods. Bo Yi aims to bring traditional East Asian superfoods to the mainstream Western market. Take it away, Tiffany.
Thanks, Abby. Guana, do you mind stop sharing your screen?
Yes, I am. I don't know how to.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Leong. I'm the founder of Bo Yi, formerly known as Chi Foods, and we're an East Asian superfood company. So I founded Bo Yi because as a Chinese American, I grew up drinking all sorts of herbal soups and drinks my mom used to make for me, but I didn't appreciate it. As a kid, I used to call this category of foods witch's brew. So about 6 years ago, I was going through some health challenges, and one of my doctors told me to eat foods that my ancestors ate to heal. And I found myself making the same herbal soups and drinks my mom used to make for me. They played a major role in my healing process, and I became really obsessed with the category. So I was wondering why other superfoods like turmeric and cacao and matcha were becoming popular, whereas the superfoods that I grew up with and most Asian Americans grew up with, not as popular. So at Bo Yi, our mission is to make East Asian superfoods accessible to everyone. There are over 11,000 superfoods that have been used for thousands of years in East Asia that we have the opportunity to introduce its health benefits and tastiness. Our first product line is a really delicious and refreshing ready-to-drink East Asian superfood tea. Our first 3 flavors are jujube, hawthorn, and chrysanthemum, and these 3 are staple healthy foods in Asian diets. Traditionally, they've been used for many things such as immunity, heart health, and detoxifying properties. So our beverages are made with whole herbs. We never use any artificial sweeteners or preservatives. They're low in calories and sugar, and they're also shelf stable of a year. So at Bo Yi, we're at the perfect intersection of 3 things. 1, ancient wisdom, 2, healthy eating, and 3, AAPI representation. We represent the fastest growing racial group in the US. Asian Americans grew 72% in population the last 15 years. And right now is a really exciting time for Asian American products. You might know a few successful ones out there today, Omsom and Sanzo and Fly by Jing, and this is really just the beginning. And so we're joining this group of pioneers and paving our own path as well as the first authentic Asian American brand for East Asian superfoods. And in doing so, we like to position ourselves between 2 different categories. 1, kind of the millennial superfood brands that focus on more well-known superfoods like matcha and turmeric. And then 2, the traditional Chinese herbal companies or pharmacies that sell raw Asian herbs. And we really view ourselves as a brand that brings the best of both of these worlds together. So now is the time. There's a lot of sparkling herbal tonics, prebiotic sodas out there, but none of them are centered around this rich category of East Asian superfoods. And now is the time. So you see some of these ingredients that the herbal tonic companies are using are traditional Chinese medicine herbs. And then also, fun fact, Pepsi uses ginseng extract in its diet soda. So now is really the time for East Asian superfoods to shine. So I just graduated from Yale SOM. I have 6 years of experience in food and agriculture, private equity, and investment banking. I've had an awesome team of students working with me this summer and an awesome set of mentors and advisors. I want to give a shout out to Kofi and Andrea for really helping us and guide us through the summer. So I just want to point out a few summer highlights. So we rebranded to Boyi from Chi Foods. Boyi means precious ceremony in Cantonese Chinese. Bo also has the same transliteration as the Cantonese word for nourish, and Boyi is also my middle name. So we're celebrating East Asian traditions and individual identity. Also want to point out that we just perfected our last SKU, which is chrysanthemum, and we are awaiting regulatory and FDA approval. We launched in our first retail stores in New York and Connecticut. In a couple of stores, we sold out in just 3 days, which is really exciting. And our reorders have been faster than each individual retailer's benchmarks. And we have a few more retail stores lined up. We're also preparing for our e-commerce launch and are really excited to say that 50% of our pre-launch inventory has sold out with very little paid marketing. Here are a few of our stores that you can find us in New York and Connecticut. You can find the full list online. And we're also taking pre-orders and shipping out in the next few weeks. Enjoyboyi.com and a little discount code for our friends and family, FNF15. So what's ahead? So for our retail, we're hoping to grow to 50 retail stores, and that's through partnering with more independent chains and as well as distributors, and also growing our e-commerce presence. So focusing on brand partnerships, influencers, and growing our community online. And beverages is just the beginning. So our plan is to expand to several product lines to really fill this large white space between Asian and Western healthy food products on shelves. We're really excited for you to join us on this journey to becoming the premier East Asian superfood brand in the US. Thanks so much. Here's my contact information if you want to learn more, and also give us a follow on social media. Enjoy Boyi. Thank you.
And thank you, Boyi. And I love the name change. That's so meaningful. All right. Up next is Elevation Med Prep. Elevation Med Prep diversifies medicine. Their mission is to make medical school admissions consulting accessible to everyone, regardless of their ability to pay. Take it away.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brendan, the founder of Elevation Med Prep. So we're the first mission-driven medical school admissions consulting social enterprise, and we elevate underrepresented medical school applicants to diversify doctors. So our premium admissions consulting services are done by Yale medical students, and core to our elevation model, these services are delivered through a personal mentorship journey. As an example, I want you to meet Mope. She's a daughter of immigrants from Nigeria, and since she's a child, her goal is actually to become a doctor. And while she's enrolled full-time as an undergraduate, she had to work full-time to supplement her education costs, and she faced numerous barriers that most of her classmates never had to. So paying for professional medical school admissions consulting really wasn't an option for her. And her experience is neither novel nor unique, as these statistics show here. So despite 13% of the population being Black, only 5% of physicians are Black. And Black female physicians actually make up only about 2%. And similarly, 19% of the population is Latinx. However, only 6% of physicians are Latinx. And while 23% of the population is rural, only 5% of incoming medical students have a rural background. So I'm one of those myself. I'm from Bellevue. It's a place in rural Ohio you've probably never heard of. And we're left with this. Physicians are not representative of the patients they serve. And this isn't just lost talent, because patients trust the healthcare system more when it looks like them, and that leads to better healthcare outcomes. So why don't underrepresented students become doctors? So there's many, many reasons. But a recent study by the Association of American Medical Colleges revealed that the cost of attending medical school is the #1 reason why qualified minority applicants choose not to even apply in the first place. I want you to balance what I just told you with this: the cost of medical school admissions consulting. Shown here's one of our competitors charging over $15,000 for one of their admissions consulting packages. So while students from economically privileged backgrounds are able to pay for these services to get into top tier schools like Yale, the same services are largely inaccessible to those from disadvantaged backgrounds. So at Elevation Med Prep, our mission is to address this important unmet need by making medical school admissions consulting accessible to everybody, regardless of their ability to pay. We want to create a world where physicians are representative of the patients they serve. So here's our team. Shane there on the bottom left, he's a School of Management alum with experience in the finance and startup space, and the rest of us are all medical students. So everybody else actually at the moment is in the hospital as we speak. And while we're from many different backgrounds, we're all in the first generation in our families to go into medicine. And because of that, we know firsthand the socioeconomic barriers, social connections, and access to information that are actually playing an enormous role in getting into medical school. Our advisors are Dr. Abba Black. She's a Yale physician and Associate Program Director for Diversity, Inclusion, and Internal Medicine. Peter Boyd, CEO of Time for Good, and previously CEO of Virgin Mobile South Africa. And Kofi Mpadu, founder and general partner of Skewed Ventures. So how do we actually make medical school admissions consulting accessible to everybody? With every paid client, Elevation MedPrep has a one-for-one model that sponsors the same services for free to underrepresented or disadvantaged applicant. And in total, we've now worked with 42 applicants. So half of these were sponsored by that one-for-one model, and they received our services completely free of charge. And one of the things that motivates us throughout this is that behind each of these numbers, the 42, each one has their own story. So one of those is Mope, who I introduced earlier. We worked with her throughout the entire interview cycle. So starting late last year until more recently, earlier this spring. And we're proud to report that Mope was recently accepted into her top choice medical school. And in 4 years, she'll be a physician. So she just started recently, and she's a fantastic person, and she's going to be great. And she's not alone. So the people who were sponsored by our one-for-one model, 94% reported they would not have had access to admissions consulting without Elevation MedPrep. And we're extremely grateful to the Yale entrepreneurship ecosystem, especially SciCity, which has been catalytic for our progress. We really couldn't have done what we did in this amount of time. So as a few highlights, earlier this year, we competed as a Startup Yale finalist for the Thorne Prize for Social Innovation in Public Health or Education. This summer, with the lessons we learned through the summer fellowship, we launched our social media, brought on a team member specifically to guide that. And that's already grown to over 7,000 followers. And we also recently launched our first on-demand digital medical school admissions consulting course. And we're really excited about this online content, on-demand content, because it's kind of the next step to exponentially expanding our impact by developing an entire suite of content that we'll host on our website. In looking forward, so when we say we want to make it accessible, so medical school admissions consulting, make it accessible to everybody, we can't do it alone. And that's where we'd like your help. So we're looking for corporate and alumni partners who would like to join us in our mission by sponsoring elevation journeys, like MOPEs, for applicants who are from underrepresented and disadvantaged backgrounds. And together, we can create a world where physicians are represented of the patients they serve. If you're interested in partnering with us, we'd love to hear from you through the contact form that's pasted there in the chat, or you can find us on our website, elevationmedprep.org.
Well done, Elevation MedPrep. Thank you so much. All right, Flow is up next. Flow is a Yale and MIT clean tech startup creating a smart, cost-effective, and environmentally friendly solution to tackle the $9.5 billion of damages caused by ice dams. All right, take it away, Flow.
All right, thank you for the intro, Abby. Hi, we're Flow, the smart solution to ice dams. Living in the Northeast, we all understand the struggles of winter. Many, however, have to deal with the age-old problem of ice dams. Ice dams form when melted snow flows down a warm roof and freezes at the roof's edge or around a drain. This leads to a wall of ice that prevents further runoff from discharging. As the standing water accumulates, both pitched and flat roofs can leak or even collapse. For instance, there are over 400 buildings at Yale, and Yale facilities has to deal with ice dam leaks in every single one each year. The annual damages cost over $1 million, and $9.5 billion are spent each year on ice dam damages across the country. Existing solutions fail to solve the problem. Customers can install heating cables before the start of winter or hire steaming services after each snowstorm to prevent the ice buildup. If they do not, they're often forced to replace a large portion of their roof. Yet roofing is one of the top 3 most dangerous US jobs that has one of the highest insurance premiums. All of these solutions are terribly costly, energy demanding, unsafe, and often labor intensive, which poses significant liability risk. Existing solutions unnecessarily seek to melt all of the ice, which is costly and energy intensive. We're focused on solving the core issue, discharging the melted snow. Our automated system pumps a liquid de-icer onto the roof. This creates channels in the ice to let the melted snow water discharge. The de-icer is clear, non-corrosive, biodegradable, and pet and plant safe. Flow is the smart solution to ice dams. By leveraging real-time data from the local sensors and the National Weather Service, the system determines exactly when to deposit the de-icer. The upkeep is simply replenishing the de-icing fluid once a year, and the tubing is invisible from the ground and can be installed by any roofer, contractor, or DIY property owner. Our IoT sensors digitize roofs and building envelopes to provide value beyond ice dams that we can monetize year-round. This data is collected by the sensors that will be processed and provided as actionable insights for maintenance and CapEx projects. This reduces operating costs and carbon footprints for buildings. Flow's business model focuses on 4 key revenue streams. We're currently generating revenue through product sales where we maintain high margins. An in-cartridge model for the de-icing fluid will continue to provide us sales year after year. And for our larger customers with dozens or even hundreds of buildings, we will provide a SaaS dashboard subscription to track their fleet's performance. And the network of service providers will conduct necessary product maintenance. By focusing on discharging the water rather than removing the ice entirely, we deliver significant savings. This ensures a break-even point of less than 2 years. Last winter, we launched a 50-unit paid pilot across 10 states in which we validated our technology and in a real-world setting and received critical feedback from our early customers. We are now an approved vendor with several of these customers, including Prologis, the largest warehouse owner in the world, the Hyatt and Vail Resorts, one of the largest ski resort companies. Flow's total addressable market is $11.1 billion. Once we've obtained the proper certifications, we will launch our product. We will start selling through our established partner channels and then scale with direct sales to key customer segments. We have a number of key defenses as we scale. We've already filed several patents and are developing the world's largest ice dam dataset. We've also created key partnerships with industry leaders, insurance agents, and the US military. Once we launch, customer loyalty in our subscription model will propel us forward. Our solution will have applications far beyond ice dams. We envision expanding to numerous verticals to radically transform the global de-icing industry for the 21st century. We've already filed IP and formed key partnerships in these domains that will pave the path forward. David and I met while undergrads at MIT, and we are now PhD students at Yale. Together, we provide a balanced set of business and technical skills. We are joined by 3 summer interns and a number of key advisors. We're excited to meet new commercial building owners and property managers. If you or someone you know manages or owns commercial property, please reach out. Likewise, if you are a Yale student and interested in interning with us in the fall, we'd love to connect. I'd like to end by saying thank you to the Sci-City team, our mentors, and the other ventures in the cohort for making this a great summer. We're Flow, the smart solution to ice dams.
Thank you, Flo. All right, I'm excited to introduce the next team, not because I have favorites, but because they're actually presenting from the brand new Sci-City building. All right, take it away, Frailty Myths.
Great, thank you, Abby. Ready? Yep. Frailty Myths builds power and justice through practice. We're a different kind of diversity, equity, and inclusion consultancy that uses hands-on activities and the principles of practice to transform workplace culture and advance justice. We know businesses are trying. Changing deeply ingrained systems of inequality, though, is hard. With our unique approach to diversity, equity, and inclusion, we can help. Advancing this work is both a moral imperative and a competitive advantage.
What we know is $8 billion is spent on diversity training and the needle isn't moving. 66% of HR specialists report that diversity training does not have positive effects. A recent McKinsey report shows that companies with more gender diverse executive teams were 25% more likely to have above average profitability.
We're creating the new standard for diversity, equity, and inclusion programming. We incorporate the most up-to-date data on experiential learning to make lasting behavioral change. Our one-of-a-kind workshops use carefully crafted activities like woodworking or role plays to surface, address, and ultimately change behaviors that cause harm in the workplace.
Let me elaborate on why and how at Frailty Myths we practice. Simply put, Just like grandma always says, anything you practice, you will get good at. Research tells us that when we push beyond 15% of our comfort range, anxiety goes up, we feel threatened, and learning stops. Our workshops, on the other hand, whether virtual or in person, move the conversation beyond the theoretical. In this model, participants are less likely to get defensive or shut down. They learn by doing and are able to change the harmful behaviors by practicing new ones. Our experiential learning systems result in long-term changes that provide substantial return on investment and allow companies to refocus on their mission.
We meet your team wherever your diversity needs are. We offer single or multi-part workshops and talks on a variety of DEI topics. We also offer tailored leadership consulting. And finally, we offer partnerships where we work with you on an ongoing basis to build powerful programming that helps you reach your DEI goals.
So how does Frailty Miss accomplish long-term behavior change?
Participants work together to practice communicating across difference. By learning both how to ask for help and how to offer advice, they get to practice making different decisions at important choice points. Sharing tasks, tools, and materials gives participants the opportunity to practice identifying microaggressions. Completing a shared project allows teams to create a culture of trust, belonging, and most importantly, a shared success.
For years, Erin and I watched groups with the best intentions fail to make lasting change. So, rooted in our friendship, born of a deep commitment to justice, we set about to craft a program that would advance equality by changing the very behaviors and attitudes that stood in its way. While I was sailing on Greenpeace ships in the Arctic and Erin was working on her PhD, we developed Frailty Miss' unique pedagogy and curriculum. In 2016, we launched our first community empowerment and leadership workshops and quickly learned from our participants that in order to create real transformation, we needed to go where we spend most of our time, at work.
To date, we've worked with over 2,000 people, and 90% of our workshop participants report an increase in confidence, while 88% report an increased willingness to try something new. Our programming works in the long term. Up to 4 years later, participants continue to report benefits from our workshops.
One workshop participant, Shandini, didn't feel good enough to contribute in team meetings, but after a workshop where we surfaced those same feelings through skills learning, she was able to, and practice them with new ways of confronting them, she was able to return to work with newfound confidence and thrive.
John, a professor, often interrupted women's projects more often with taking tools out of their hands without asking. So we constructed role plays where he could identify this behavior and then practice changing it.
Frailty Miss is different in 3 ways. Our experiential learning system changes behavior through practice. Our integrated leadership model empowers graduates from our community training to become facilitators, like Shandini. And our diverse team of industry experts are uniquely situated at the intersections of business and society.
We know how great of an opportunity the Sci-City Summer Fellowship was for Frailty Miss to take the next needed steps and scale. We set a summer goal of booking a client for an enterprise-wide project. We successfully closed the deal with the global organization in June, and a few weeks ago completed a project where we were tasked with developing and hosting their entire 4-day annual conference. One participant said, not only did Frailty Miss come to the table as collaborators, they also brought expertise, high expectations, love, and compassion, taking the concept of training to a deeper concept of learning for life. I highly recommend Frailty Miss to any organization considering DEI work. It was with the support of this program, Sci-City, that allowed us to see that project through, and now we're ready to reach our full potential.
So if you work with a company or organization that wants to advance their DEI work, hire us today. And for our VC friends in the audience, if you're serious about getting your portfolio ready to take on today's biggest challenges, commit to this work and bring us on. And for all the other Yaleys, individuals, Sci-City supporters, Frailty Miss is a 501c3. We are committed to building a more just world. You can join our mission and sponsor this necessary and important work by making a donation. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Well spoken, Frailty Miss. Thank you. Up next is Funbotics. Funbotics is a national nonprofit organization that provides free hands-on robotics and STEM education to underprivileged youth ages 11 to 12 years old. Take it away.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. We are here today to talk to you about Funbotics, a 501c3 nonprofit organization with the vision of a world where all students have equal opportunity to explore STEM.
Our mission is to ignite a passion for STEM in youth, providing fun, hands-on STEM experiences, free for the underrepresented and under-resourced.
My name is Pranav, and I have been working on this vision since the inception of Funbotics when I was only 16 years old, growing it from small programs in churches and libraries to where it is today.
My name is Anthony. I was born in Guatemala, but raised in DC. Having grown up in a minority under-resourced household, I know firsthand the problem we seek to address, making me motivated to dismantle the ethnic disparities in STEM. Of the STEM workforce, only 9% and 8% are Black and Hispanic, respectively, compared to 11% and 17% in the overall workforce. Disparities in STEM exist because there is a high cost to entry. Many minorities don't know family members in STEM, leaving them with no role models they can identify with. Finally, the culture of poverty is a self-fulfilling cycle. Instantaneous financial instability doesn't allow parents to invest in their children's STEM future. So kids never get inspired to pursue STEM. These kids then don't expose their future kids to STEM, and the cycle continues.
We address these problems through our Funbotics camps. The camps that Funbotics has already fully developed are our 3D modeling and printing camp, which was our primary focus this summer as part of the Sci-City Accelerator, our VEX competition camp, and our at-home engineering care package camp. In addition to these, we have a few programs in the works, such as our computer science camp and our Arduino custom robotics camp, in which students design and build their own custom Arduino robots from the comfort of their own homes.
As Pranav mentioned, launching the 3D modeling and printing camp was our primary focus for the summer. In this 3-day virtual camp, kids received and built their 3D printers the first day. They then learned to 3D model the second day and printed their own custom models the third day. Students were able to keep their 3D printers for future engineering exploration.
For our July 3D printing camp, Funbotics secured a large long-term sponsorship of 30 free 3D printers and filaments from Creality, and we equipped 55 students with the tools, experience, and confidence to pursue STEM paths, with 40 of the students from under-resourced and underrepresented communities. For a lot of these students, the camp was the first time picking up a screwdriver, and the result was a fully functioning 3D printer that provided a huge burst to self-confidence to pursue STEM in the future. We received feedback from the students, and one student even specifically mentioned that the program would be great for the autistic community.
We believe building a strong social media presence is critical to making Funbotics a household name. We're tackling this through our website, getting news articles published, our social media channels, and we're producing a 3D printing camp documentary set to release next week. Finally, we also launched our weekly newsletters. Our social media presence is not simply one-sided. Through Instagram and our newsletters, we post weekly engineering challenges such as building bridges, spaghetti towers, and airplane launchers. This keeps our students continuously engaged with STEM.
We are already self-sustaining and our programs are paying for themselves. Our sources of funding include paid students with a one-to-one model, product sponsorships such as our sponsorship from Creality, and generous philanthropic donations that make expansion possible.
Since we are a volunteer-based organization, a motivated, unified team is essential to our success. We have a team of 20 college and high school volunteers who we keep motivated by our mission, community, and learning opportunities. Our 3-team structure allows us to effectively cater to our volunteers' interests while maximizing our output.
We have an amazing group of advisors that have helped us along the way, and partners that help us with student recruitment, obtaining products for our students, and consulting for our venture. Funbotics is 5 years old and is going strong. I founded Funbotics in Northern Virginia along with my sister in 2016. Anthony and I created the Yale chapter in 2018, and the transition to virtual programming in 2020 sparked the creation of the national organization.
Some of our long-term goals are establishing Funbotics chapters at universities across the country, continuing to support existing Funbotics students with advising and tracking their progress as they grow, and eventually establishing Funbotics makerspaces in under-resourced communities.
There are a few different ways that all of you guys can get involved. You can spread the word to help students sign up for our programs, donate, contact us about any potential partnerships, and sign up for our mailing list, where you can get the first look at our documentary next week. Thank you all so much for your time.
And thank you guys for your time. All right, we are right at the halfway point. So I just want to remind the audience about that Q&A feature. Hover your mouse on the bottom of your Zoom screen and you should find the Q&A button. And also I'm going to ask my friend Alexis, if she's still here, to send out that Google form one more time. We'll definitely be sending that form out at the end of today's pitches as well. So with that, Interlytic is up next. Interlytic is a social enterprise that partners with disenfranchised community members to create immersive therapeutic learning programs that alleviate prejudice.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jordan. I'm the founder of Interlytic. We're a social business that equips communities with the tools to be more equitable. By partnering with the disenfranchised, we offer 1, immersive learning programs, and 2, diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting. We're a research and consulting firm that is building a tech company, and that'll make sense later. Most importantly, Interlytic puts people first. On this slide, you'll see that we're psychologists, social workers, professors. We're mothers, fathers, and uncles. We're conservatives, liberals, rebels. I'm a researcher turned consultant turned uncle of 5, focusing on understanding motivation and interaction, specifically when it involves race, gender, and sexuality. And we combine all of these diverse qualities into research, analytics, and therapy. The DEI industry has its issues. Businesses aren't seeing the value of their money. Employees are leaving DEI events with very little gained, often feeling drained. And for you and me, we're looking for ways to discover more about ourselves. And therapy is an avenue, but therapy's hard. Decades of research shows that becoming more aware of our bias is the first step to growth. There are plenty of fantastic researchers, Brene Brown, Daphne Brooks, who's even at Yale. Research also shows that more diverse, inclusive companies outperform competitors, and they're willing to pay top dollar for meaningful solutions. After competing in this market this summer and winning 3 large projects, I've learned that DEI competitors are not basing their results in data. This is where Interlytic shines. Our solution is powered by data. We make equity logical and profitable, and we're on a mission to an equitable world. Mission, spaceship, to an equitable world, you get it? Okay, the dad's in the room like that. Let's start at the bottom. We have our virtual learning platform. It's currently under construction and will be ready for piloting next year. Once it's done, individuals or businesses can take a immersive learning assessment, and then they'll get a personalized report about their subconscious bias. For serious businesses, our DEI risk assessment highlights which area of the business needs the most help. We do this via a huge analysis on data from hiring, promotion, and culture. We sold 2 this summer, and we made this program this summer. And then finally, businesses, schools, and even families can take our workshop, our Equity Logic workshop. You'll learn how to be more aware of your bias, admit and prove when there is bias, logically, and my favorite, be empowered to take action. This is a new offering as well, and we, based on community research we did this summer, and we sold 1 this summer as well. Each of these offerings can be bought separately, but the real magic is when we mix them all together. They're the fuel to an unquestionably, consistently equitable world. The dads like when that ship blew off too. By design, when we do business, we do good, really. In our ecosystem, businesses, communities, and you benefit from each other. The disenfranchised are connected with jobs and paid for their expertise. They've been paid thousands just this summer. Businesses getting access to an assortment of talented people and new ideas, and you get a community of support as you learn about your bias and how to grow. Okay, let's have a little fun. A busy summer speed round. So 3 projects, got 25 new learners. Interviewed 37 people for research, sent more emails than I'll ever admit. I also interviewed 17 people for jobs, hired 3, fired 1. That was hard. Still making one website that's taking all damn summer. Became One Delaware Benefit LLC. Made money that I didn't spend on me. That was ridiculous. Got 50,000 views on TikTok. Also ridiculous. Slept 7 hours a day. Baked 7 new cakes, including a vegan one. Ran 1 to 2 miles each day because of all that damn cake. And found out that being a founder is very scary. Very, very scary. And I regret nothing. So let's talk about it. Action. For the entrepreneurs, let's talk about mixing more psychology in your work. I'm trained to be a behaviorist. That means we quantify information, specifically psychological information. Impact investors, is impact investing as impact as it claims? I have doubts. And if you're interested in more details, because I had 5 minutes and had to be kind of vague, you can email me. I'll end off with some insights from this summer that I learned. 1, learning happens best around peers. Don't let the managers in the room, let them in for a different session. 2, the willingness to be wrong is vital in discussion regarding race, gender, and sexuality, and it's rarer than I thought. Finally, I know it seems obvious, but just a reminder, humans are not computers. We like to think we're logical decision makers, but we're wired to be emotional ones. Thank you for listening and learning from within.
Thank you, Interlytic. I love your energy. All right, up next is Kelly Welle, and I'm going to be presenting screens on her behalf. So just bear with me for 1 second. All right, Rachel, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. My name is Rachel. I'm the CEO and founder of Kelly Welle, which is a Ghanaian food service reimagining plantains in our effort to provide familiar yet innovative, healthy, and sustainable food products. In our next slide, you'll see a little bit more about me. I am a dual PhD candidate at Yale in the Joint Anthropology and African American Studies program, which in so many ways, as trained anthropologists especially, has informed my work in really approaching business from a very kind of thoughtful approach, which I'll share a little bit more. In our next slide, you'll see our mission at Kelly Welle is really to reinvent how people eat comfort food in familiar yet innovative, healthy, and sustainable ways, as I mentioned. Next slide. For Kelly Welle, we're really interested in addressing a particular opportunity, and that opportunity is a $1.3 trillion purchasing power of consumers of color who are looking for culturally conscious, healthy, and sustainable foods to meet their needs. In response to this lack or this problem, we created Kelly Welle in the next slide, where I share a little bit about our 3-pronged approach. Kelly Welle, being a cultural lifestyle brand, really focused on 3 things. The first is to use plantains, which is a globally recognized diasporic and sustainable plant, in order to create delicious, affordable vegan foods that are protected by copyright secret. And the 3rd prong is really around educating people in our communities on the benefits of nutritious eating and leveraging African and African diasporic superfoods that are familiar to them, but using them in really innovative ways. Next slide. I'll share, we have a whole suite of different plantain products that are all plant-based. One that really kind of takes the cake in terms of innovation and has been a fan favorite is our plantain ice cream. That, of course, is also plant-based. And you'll see just some data points in terms of benefits, units sold, as well as our gross profit margin for the ice cream. I'll share something that's really exciting to us is the opportunity to really bump up our profit margin as we are now in the process of acquiring commercial equipment that will increase our production runs by over 10 times. On the next slide, you'll see a little bit more about our multiple distribution channels. The first one is really focused on direct to consumer through our e-commerce, and excitingly, July 1st of this year, we launched our pop-up shop at DeKalb Market Hall in downtown Brooklyn. And you'll see me there pictured in front of our shop. And while it is a pop-up, I'll share a little bit more specifically. It's really an opportunity to use that space as a test kitchen to really understand what works well in terms of our products as we then think about our next steps, which I'll share a little bit later as I give you our playbook going into the future. And so it's a time to really kind of catalyze the energy that's already at DeKalb, use it to refine our product offerings and to really understand what consumers want most. We also are an official food vendor of Goldman Sachs. And through that partnership, we get access to the 8,000 plus foot traffic at Goldman Sachs headquarters in downtown New York. And then also through our wholesale distribution model, which is our growing number of cafes and restaurants in the New York City area. I'll also add, and very exciting to this audience, the first time we're sharing this news, we just literally an hour ago signed a deal with Barclays. And so we will add them as an official, we will be an official food vendor for them for the upcoming basketball season. And so that partnership will get going in September. So really excited about that opportunity as well to leverage their 90,000 plus footprints in Brooklyn alone as one of their 4 select food vendors for the upcoming season. In the next slide, you'll see a little bit of information just in terms of our revenue projections, which details currently what we're doing and what we're projected to do at DeKalb Market Hall, in addition to some of our other sales that makes up a marginal aspect of our revenue now through pop-ups, speaking engagements, etc. And that bottom line, you'll see the total revenue for this year leading into 2025. The next slide, you'll see the costs associated with that revenue. And then the next slide, with our net profit projections as we really aim towards a 92% annual growth in the best case scenario. The next slide looks at our playbook. And so, as I mentioned, this year we're really focused on refining our product offerings, which we're doing through our pop-up store at DeKalb Market Hall. It's a 6-month lease with the opportunity to renew. So we're excited about that opportunity as well. As we also increase, parallel to that effort, our wholesale distribution model to our cafes and restaurants. What we're working on now and hope to really establish at least one partnership for retail going into next year is to really hone in and kind of get into our national retail expansion strategy through consumer packaged goods. And so that's something that we're doing the back end work now with the hopes that we can solidify partnerships going into next year. I mentioned at the very beginning of this slide that Kalawale is a Ghanaian food service. And I myself, I'm Ghanaian, and Kalawale was the first plantain dish I ever had growing up as a kid. It's a Ghanaian street food. And so it bears a lot of significance to me. And so I'm very committed to getting the business back to its roots in a very significant way. And so we're constantly thinking and working on solidifying our footprint back in the Ghanaian market and really doing that by deepening relationships with international suppliers as we move forward. In the next slide, you'll see a little bit about our media reach. We've gotten incredible traction over the last few years since launching the business in 2018. Most recently, we were featured in the New York Times in both print and online, as Kalawale is a highly publicized place to try, which was written by Florence Fabricant, a huge foodie. So really excited about the traction that we've received and the kind of growing fanfare around the work that we do. On the next slide, you'll see our ask. As I mentioned right now, parallel to the work that we're doing with our pop-up test kitchen, we're also really refining and thinking about working on our consumer packaged goods model. So we're asking for $500,000 really to ensure our retail readiness, secure commercial kitchen space to do the CPG work needed for production runs and scale long-term or international retail presence, and to grow the staff to really power this operation. And so I will pause there. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to be with you all, and a special shout out to the Size City team and our advisor, Kofi Ampadu, who's been excellent, both here in our summer fellowship as well in the accelerator program in the spring. So thank you.
Thank you, Kalawale, and thanks for the opportunity to steer your presentation. All right, up next is Midnight Oil Collective. Midnight Oil Collective is a group of creators investing in creators, collectivizing resources, and building a robust and stable community.
Hi, In 2020, a group of artists, freshly unemployed from the pandemic, had the time to come together and ask, what if we could be our own investors? What if artists could control how their works were produced and developed? What kind of art would that lead to?
We formed Midnight Oil Collective, a creator-driven arts investment, development, and production group. At its core, what we do is simple. A professional artist comes to us with a project draft. We provide the artist with funding and bring the project into a diverse incubation cohort of other highly skilled artists. Each week, the cohort meets and focuses on 2 projects, investing their creative capital and artistic networks.
After 6 months of active artistic incubation, they enter an accelerator in which we provide artists with a business education that is almost non-existent in art schools. We help them apply this knowledge to create more equitable contract for their collaborators, as well as the go-to-market strategy for all of their projects. Organized and supported by a team of motivated creatives, the work is then ready for significant developmental investment. This comes in 2 forms: partnerships with mission-aligned nonprofits and direct financial support for workshops or pilot episodes. Finally, once the art has been proven, we either sell the intellectual property or add it to an arts investment portfolio, identify its ideal audience, and produce it ourselves.
We support this multi-step process with an innovative worker self-directed enterprise structure modeled on the Mondragon Corporation in Spain. After a year, upon successful completion of the accelerator, the artist earns an equal share in our corporation, entitling them to an equal share of the profit and an equal vote in major company decisions. This structure gives artists true ownership over their work, incentivizes them to collaborate instead of compete, and motivates them to see projects through to completion. It also allows us to provide financial stability for all members. And this in a field where the trope is that we are all starving.
Our current competitors for arts development are one-off exclusive programs that typically dictate or control subject matter, provide limited or no financial compensation, and culminate in semi-staged events with no next steps toward production. Alternatively, they can seek out agents or attempt to attract attention directly from producers, but that requires a huge, often costly investment into networking rather than art making.
Both pathways lead to burnout, particularly for those who don't come from wealth and those who have familial responsibility. And we wonder why the field isn't more diverse and why the art we make often feels pretentious and out of touch with most audiences. Systemic economic problems require systemic economic solutions.
We can rant about this for days, but let's zoom in on one of our inaugural projects, SALT, for a concrete example of our competitive advantage. SALT had been in the works for 6 years prior to MOC. Composer Francis Pollock beat the odds multiple times to get into Yale School of Music and American Opera projects, but had to wait months between partially staged, poorly funded workshops. Then the pandemic hit. She helped found Midnight Oil Collective, and despite the shutdown, things accelerated. With 8 creators invested in the project, more happened in the past year than in the previous 5. She now has a complete draft, a full design concept, a go-to-market plan, and is in talks with a potential partner for a residency and premiere.
Every single one of our projects has had a similarly promising projection. In the course of 10 months, 4 have gone from ideas to fleshed out works. We've launched a music theory school, presented at 4 conferences, given talks at several universities, and are in the midst of forming partnerships with other arts and academic organizations.
Meanwhile, we've developed our business model right alongside our projects, completing 2 accelerators in the fall, solidifying our mission, vision, and values, and raising $215,000 in initial seed money.
We're thinking big. The arts already make more than $919 billion annually. A show like Hamilton makes $1 billion on its own, but only 16% of Hamilton's earnings go to the artists. The rest goes to outside investors and producers. Meanwhile, many regions have very little access to the arts. Venues sit empty, and most of us would see more shows if we thought they would actually be good. By centering and supporting creators, we will not only be redistributing the pie to our starving artists, we will also be able to significantly grow it.
We've ignited at the exact time that we've seen many of our colleagues burn out. And that's exactly what gives us a sense of urgency. Our 9 members represent only a fraction of the artists out there who have talent and drive and vision, but who are being crushed by the industry. We might be one of the most highly educated and trained workforces out there that is habitually living in poverty. We want to mobilize this incredible group. We are a company and we are a movement. And right now we're looking for collaborators and mentors, particularly those with legal, accounting, and finance skills, and those with connections to the arts, film, and television industries. as well as anyone else who sees a world in which liberated artists are able to liberate art.
We're willing to burn the midnight oil, and we're hoping you'll join us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Midnight Oil Collective, for that wonderful pitch. All right, up next, and I see they're ready, is 1.5. 1.5 is a B2B professional marketplace for high talent, remote sustainability experts on the supply side, and organizations who have environmental business challenges that need to be solved for the demand side. Take it away.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right. So my name's Winter. I'm also joined by Neil. We are 1.5, thrilled to be here. Neil and I actually met a little over a year ago today, and we united under this sort of shared frustration, I think, for how the climate crisis had been tried to been solved for the last couple of decades, and a shared interest in figuring out more innovative and immediate ways in which we could tackle the climate crisis moving forward. So climate change is undoubtedly one of the biggest sort of global challenges we're facing. Currently, we're already over 2/3 of the way to our 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming threshold. To avoid the worst impacts of climate change, we have very limited time to figure out how to solve some of these challenges. And we also recognize that companies play a really big part in the sort of global greenhouse gas emissions. So that sounds very doom and gloom, but what we built sort of 1.5 on was seeing the kind of energy and young talent in the programs we were a part of in the Yale School of the Environment, the environmental management programs, seeing all the young, talented sustainability professionals really want to be engaged in solving some of these problems today. So at 1.5, we're tapping into that. We develop and we execute your sustainability solutions by simplifying access to and the cost of sustainability expertise. So the current model for solving some of these sustainability challenges within organizations is that consultancies will hire generalists. They'll place generalists within organizations who pay high prices because traditional advisories have high overhead costs. And this is all resulting in low pay to the generalists. So this means we're actually not maximizing progress on sustainability and profits. So we at 1.5, we're trying to figure out how we can do that in a better, more innovative way. So at 1.5, we've built out a network of sustainability experts that's continually growing. We're able to hire those experts, place those experts within organizations at low prices because we're actually completely remote. And we are able to also at the same time pay our experts fairly. So because we have that sort of disciplinary expertise match with specific projects, we're able to maximize progress on sustainability while maintaining that sort of priority to also maximize profits. For example, if you're a beauty company, you're interested in, say, like the ecotoxicity of your product packaging, we would be able to say, within our network, we have a green chemist, an environmental engineer, a climate finance expert. We would match, mobilize, and manage those experts to execute along a project timeline and deliver those results to your organization. Due to market research and our success so far, we've identified 3 priority areas: sustainability services, climate technology, and climate finance. And you can see some examples of the type of work that we've done under each of those categories. So we're tapping into a $1 billion US sustainability business consulting market. And the way in which we're able to differentiate ourselves is because we have that sort of interdisciplinary nature and deep climate intelligence. At the same time, we are a completely virtual workspace as well. Right now, we're really excited. Next week, we'll be launching the 2nd version of our website, integrating some of the technology that we've built so far. We're figuring out a way in which we can more seamlessly match client projects to our network of experts. And we've built some algorithms that are able to do that, identify which experts are best suited for individual projects. So none of this would be possible without our phenomenal community, our team. So actually our founding team, together we have over 20 years of experience across engineering, consulting, communications. We've had 10 people this summer, which has been absolutely phenomenal. And then we're joined also by a network of advisors and experts. It's been growing so much that many of them are actually not even on this one page. So we're really excited that that's continuing to expand. So far, we are completely bootstrapped and profitable. We've hit 280K revenue to date. And we have customers and partnerships across the globe. I'll also make a nod to our partners and the recognition we've received so far. The response has been amazing, and we've felt a lot of conviction in kind of this movement that we're pushing forward to tackle the climate crisis. So I'll leave that there and just say thank you so much to the whole SciCity team, to everyone else involved in the fellowship. It's been such a rewarding opportunity, and we really, really appreciate being a part of that as 1.5, getting to take forward some of those learnings into the future. So please follow us on our social channels of OPF degree, and we look forward to engaging with you in the future.
Well done, 1.5. All right, audience, we have 3 pitches left, and the next one up is PF Glucose. All right, PF Glucose aims to offer diabetics a non-invasive glucose monitor that is painless, more convenient, cheaper, and accurate than alternatives on the market. Take it away, guys.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rohan Alalia, and thank you all for being here today on the demo day. So I'll kind of start with the story. So since the age of 2, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and I've given countless finger stick measurements, finger pricks, injections, it's been my entire life. And there's nothing more painful than every day pricking your finger between 6 and 10 times, as the other 440 million diabetics across the country must do. The current methods available for our finger stick measurements are invasive, painful, and inconvenient, and there's a serious need for those to create a new and painless solution. That's kind of what we do at PF. That's what we're trying to do at PF Glucose. We're trying to create a novel, painless glucose monitoring device that eliminates the inconvenience, expense, and pain associated with the current devices on the market. So you may be asking, how are we able to do this? That stems from our patent-pending multidisciplinary technology. We're combining fields of optics, engineering, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to create a unique solution to be able to solve this problem. Basically, what we're trying to do is use infrared light coupled with numerous different technologies such as AI and modulation to be able to create a more accurate device. So let's kind of walk through how the device works. So you have the human finger here with all these glucose molecules inside of it. And what we're able to do is actually use an electric current, and we're currently looking into nanoparticles to be able to move these glucose molecules towards the tip of the finger, by therefore increasing the density of the glucose molecules, which is able to actually increase our accuracy when we're able to shine an LED light through it. It's kind of, think of like pushing everyone into a corner of a room and then kind of shining a light to count the amount of people there are. The denser the solution is, the less the impact of co-founding variables like water or hemoglobin have on our detection method. By moving these glucose molecules to the corner, we've increased the density, and now we're able to detect the glucose with higher accuracy. But next, what we're able to do is now put all of these different variations into a machine learning algorithm where we're able to finally extract the true glucose concentration. So we're currently still developing our device, but we've done some initial patient trials specifically on myself. So essentially, as you can see here, we did a 7-day trial where we actually recorded the variations in my glucose data and correlated it with the device itself. And we were able to see that 95% of the values were within this A region here, which is deemed clinically accurate by the Clark error grid, one of the error grids in the industry standard. Basically, what this 95% accuracy shows is that we're able to actually compete with some of the devices on the market in terms of our accuracy. Now we're currently working to make sure that we're able to reach this accuracy for all of our patients as we continue through our validation and device development studies. So there are a couple of companies that we are competing with, since as non-invasive glucose monitoring is a crowded space. So we're competing with DiamondTech, SugarBeet, and GlucoWise. While all companies have numerous advantages and disadvantages, we believe that our company, PF Glucose, is online to distribute our product similar to these companies in 2023. We actually believe our device will have better accuracy, a less invasive technology, and be a cheaper alternative, which will actually allow a lot of the consumers to pick our device over the others. We've been able to develop our prototypes in less than $10, and when we start to manufacture, the cost will go down significantly. We also believe that we'll have a smaller, a quicker FDA approval process than these other devices, since we're able to piggyback off other devices such as pulse oximeters and other devices like the Gluco watch. We believe that these competitive advantage kind of shows how PF Glucose and our Sugar Sense device will be able to kind of surpass our competitors, both in not only in the pain and the duration aspect, but specifically in the cost. So what you may be asking, what's next for PF Glucose? So kind of over the next 12 months, we're kind of focusing on three main things. First, we're going to do our validation studies and make sure our device is ready to be submitted to the FDA for approval. Second, we're going to be doing a goal-centered clinical trial where we're going to be measuring a ton of different patients, both who have diabetes and don't have diabetes, to be able to determine if our device is accurate. And last thing we'll be doing is we'll be raising capital for both our clinical trial and the device development procedure that goes ahead. So now let's kind of meet the team that's been working on this device. So I'm Rohan, as I mentioned. I'm the founder and the research and development lead. And we have Dr. Jacobs working on the electrical engineering, Dr. Jericho, our research and development advertiser, who's also hosting our lab space at Yale. And we have Dr. Prahl and Dr. Jularu working on optical engineering and our medical device and medical and other consulting aspects. So together we've been working to kind of create this solution, make this solution a reality. But we're actually currently looking for more people to kind of help us as we expand our team. So as I want to conclude with is that PF Glucose is working to create a non-invasive glucose monitoring device that is affordable, convenient, comfortable, reliable, and painless, and hopefully will be one of the first to market. Thank you so much for listening, and I want to send a special thank you to the SciCity program for having me through all three of their different programs, the Launchpad, the Accelerator, and the Summer Fellowship. It's been an absolute blast.
Thank you, Rohan. That's so sweet. All right, up next is Upright. Upright makes direct-to-consumer high-protein oat milk available in liquid and instant form. And I am an oat milk convertee. This is my new favorite additive to my coffee. Take it away, Betty.
Sorry, realized I was on mute there. Okay, here we go. Let's try that one more time. All right, hi everyone. I'm Betty, the founder of Upright, which makes plant-based oat milk that is good for us and our world. So we're starting out with a high-protein instant oat milk. So I started this personally because I've always struggled with finding a milk that was both healthy, sustainable, and convenient. I'm lactose intolerant, like 2/3 of the world. I've got a bunch of food allergies, and I care about the environment, meaning that I don't feel good ethically drinking dairy or most alternatives. Plus, half the time my milk would go bad before I could even finish it, which was super frustrating. And so I just wanted a milk that was convenient and didn't make me feel like I was making trade-offs. So I made Upright, which is high protein instant oat milk. So you just add water for instant oat milk wherever, whenever you want it, whether you're at home or on the go. Each cup packs 8 grams of oat protein and the same key vitamins and minerals as dairy, plus 2 grams of prebiotic oat fiber for heart and gut health. Oats are our main ingredient, so our products are allergen-free and way better for the environment, using 12 times less water than cow's milk and 7 times less water than almond milk. Plus, as an instant powder, Upright uses less energy since we're not shipping water and don't require refrigeration. So it makes it super convenient to get your nutrition on the go without ever having to worry about your milk going bad. So we're doing this because we believe that small changes can make a big difference. Our mission is to make delicious food that's better for people and our planet. And we're starting out with our instant oat milk because it can create such a big difference. Just by replacing 1 single cup of dairy milk with oat milk, you're saving 39 gallons of water, 19 square feet of land, and over a pound of carbon emissions just through a single cup. And like I mentioned, our instant oat milk saves even more than that since we're not shipping around water. Beyond that, though, we also see a huge market opportunity. So as a plant-based dairy analog, we're going after a $40 billion market in the US alone. Oatly, who is the market leader in this space, just IPO'd, illustrating the huge growth in this category. So over the past 2 years, we've been perfecting our trade secret recipe with food scientists and pediatricians. And we've gotten feedback at every step of the way. So we're confident that consumers want what we're making. From our conversations, we've also understood who our first customer is and how we'll empower these young families to live their values with every meal. We also understand our competition and how we stand out as the only instant oat milk with 8 grams of allergen-free protein per cup, which is double or more the protein of our competitors while staying at a similar price point and offering way more convenience through instant powder. So to go to market, we're planning an omni-channel strategy, starting with direct-to-consumer sales online, which we've recently launched through pre-sales on their website. And then in the future, we're planning to expand into retail as well as into food service. So we built out our supply chain, and we know that we'll make money with every unit from the start. And at scale, we'll be able to capture 60% gross margins. Going forward, though, our vision doesn't end with just oat milk. We're planning a portfolio of delicious foods and beverages that are better for people and our planet, including healthy and sustainable creamers, yogurts, and ice cream using alternative proteins and regenerative crops. So to do this, I built this with my MBA classmate, Tura, by combining our complementary skills and experiences. My background is in strategy consulting, where I've served agriculture and consumer goods companies, and I now lead strategy, product marketing, and sales for Upright. And then my co-founder, his background is in supply chain and logistics, and he leads operations, supply chain, and of course, logistics as well. We're also supported by an incredible team of food scientists and mentors. So over the past 2 years now, we've made steady progress by bootstrapping and through grants. And to launch later this year, we're currently raising on a platform called Republic. So if you're interested in sharing our success and supporting our mission to combat climate change, you can invest now for as little as $100 by going to republic.co/upright. We'd also love help just spreading the word. So feel free to follow us at Upright Oats on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or sign up for our newsletter at uprightoats.com. So thanks for having us, and feel free to reach out if you want to learn more. Oh, I'll also mention, we're also doing a giveaway right now that actually closes at the end of the month. So you've got a couple weeks left to enter, but you can enter to win a free Vitamix, which will obviously go great with the instant oat milk that we're selling. So to enter that, you can go to uprightoats.com/giveaway, and I'll put it in the chat box as well for everyone. All right, thanks for having me.
Who doesn't love a giveaway? Okay, well, I'm trying to win a Vitamix. Let's bring on our next and final presenter, Levi from Wiggle Room. Take it away, Levi.
Hi, yeah, I'm Levi. I'm the co-founder of Wiggle Room. Wiggle Room uses digital fabrication technologies to create high quality avant-garde furniture in the US. So the team is me. I'm the designer and production person and kind of e-commerce website person, and then my partner, and I'm a Yale, I have one more year of my Master's of Architecture here at Yale, and then my partner is Zoe Cohen, who is the head of brand marketing at Parade, and before that she was the head of social media at Marc Jacobs. So the origin story of our company is that in the fall or in the winter of 2020, I decided I wanted to just build a table for our Brooklyn dining room. And architects sometimes get really caught up in the computer and lose track of like the actual construction of things. So I wanted to connect with construction and use digital tools to create a table. So over a period of months, I made the most complicated table I could imagine out of 1-inch sheets of plywood, 27 or something of them glued together and then sanded smooth. And so I built this dining table and I posted it on Instagram, and I got a bunch of DMs from people saying, I want one. And I was like, well, I can't really make you one because it took me like 5 months because it was really, really hard and incredibly inefficient. But then a friend of mine, the fashion designer, Susan Alexandra, she asked me to make one. And I was like, maybe I can simplify the base and figure out how to make this more cost effectively and quicker. But then in the middle of building it, COVID hit, my wood shop shut down, and I had to finish the table in Zoe's parents' garage. But then when we delivered her table, she posted on Instagram, it got a ton of traction, tons of people were DMing me wanting them, like tons meaning hundreds of people. There was an Architecture Digest story about her table. It just kind of went viral a little bit. So then we were like, we need to figure out how to make these things because people clearly want them. So instead of like, finding a need for a product and trying to figure out what we can do to meet that need, we basically were like kind of given a company because of the demand was there and we had to figure out how to do it. So we found a fabricator and then we ended up switching to a larger fabricator, but now we have 3 different products and a coffee table, and a dining table, and a side table. Our coffee tables and dining tables come in 2 different sizes. And our products are made right here in the New Haven area. Our packaging, which is plastic free and entirely paper based, is made in the New Haven area. And so our tables, and they're shipped and warehoused and everything from the New Haven area. And so this is what we've done to date. So we launched our Shopify, our website 11 months ago, and we've done 230,000 in revenue. And we've spent no money on marketing at all, except for one photo shoot. We paid about $500, but we haven't bought any ads, and we haven't had any investment or outside capital. We've been cash flow positive and profitable from the beginning. And we're up to 17,000 on Instagram. We've sold 360 tables, and we're continuing to grow. And our Instagram has been our most powerful platform. 1 in 4 of our customers are posting their table to Instagram. If you look at our tags at Wiggle Room NYC, if you look at our tags, you can see our tables in homes from New York City to LA to Dubai to Kyoto, all over the world, Portland, Austin, they're all over the US, and a few are around the world. And Women's Wear Daily called our tables social media catnip. And then we've had a lot of press. So we've been featured in the New York Times a couple months ago. We've had a series of Architectural Digest articles and The Cut, as well as Domino and print in Elle Magazine, and then Hype Bay and the Coveteur, and a series of other press things. And currently we are working on some new products. I didn't want to really give them away, but I wanted to put up this assembly drawing that is very vague, and maybe you guys could figure out what it is, but I kind of doubt it. But this is going to be our new product that we'll be launching in the coming months. So yeah, thank you.
I love the suspense and the mystery. I am going to try to figure out what that is. Thank you very much, Wiggle Room. And now, everyone, let me just share one final screen so that you know how to get in touch with our fellows, how to sign up for future Sci-City events, and how to drop us some feedback, because we love to hear from you on how we can improve. So I'd like to take a moment to ask all of the founders here today to unmute themselves and to give each other a huge virtual round of applause. All right, on the count of 3, I guess, or 3, 2, 1. Way to go, guys. Yeah, fantastic job.
Great job.
Well done. All right, I want to take a moment to say thank you to all of you guys who pitched. Thank you for sharing your innovative ideas with us today. And thanks to the audience for joining and supporting these brilliant minds. Alexis, you can drop that link one more time. Actually, I'm sharing it up on the screen. You don't even have to drop it. If you want to connect with any of the teams that you saw here tonight, then you can go to sci.city/connectwithteams21. That concludes Demo Day 2021. But if you want to learn more about the entrepreneurial ecosystem at Yale, or find resources or attend future events, please visit us at city.yale.edu. All right. With that, I'm going to bid you all a good evening. Thanks, guys.